How's it going, my bitches and bros and non-binary hoes? It's Nicole here, and today we start a new journey. A journey of me leaving the zombies community by beating Red Dead Redemption 2 without using a single gun. Yes, I promise there's symbolism here with me doing this on this game, but I'll explain it later. First, we can talk about the rules because, like all my challenges, what you think would be simple really isn't. First, unless there's absolutely no way past it, we cannot use a gun to kill anyone. But furthermore, I'm going to try to avoid even shooting a gun in most cases. I also want to try my best to avoid using bows in this run, because while I feel like saying no guns and then instantly using a bow, it's kind of cheap, especially when you consider the bow and function is just basically acts like a short-ranged Springfield, where you have to just reload after every shot. So basically the only thing I'm going to be allowed to use during this run is my fists, my knives, throwing knives, dynamite, and fire jars. Anything that shoots or goes poo-pew or any of that sort of things are off limits. I think it's pretty much everything. So without further ado, let's start with chapter 1 of our journey. Chapter 1 begins like it normally does. We follow Dutch, Western Satan's biggest follower, into the mountain and offered him a sacrifice to bless us on our journey. Yes, this bit's inspired by Isaiah. Dutch states that while the sacrifice was a good start, it's not enough to satiate Western Satan's needs. We need to go out and find more fuel for him. On our journey to find more sacrifices, we run into the most evil man in the West, an even more devout follower of Western Satan than Dutch, Micah Bell III. Micah told us he found a house full of potential sacrifices, and so we rode off in search of it. When we got there, Dutch wanted to try to convert him to the ways of Western Satanism, and told Micah and Arthur to hide just in case things went south. While Dutch was in the middle of giving his sermon, Micah made a startling discovery. I sprung to action and ended up killing nearly everyone in the camp except for one, leaving him to tell the tale of Western Satanism. We searched the house and I made the mistake of grabbing minimal amount of supplies that I could, and when I left, Dutch kindly asked me to search the stables, when someone jumped me. Someone I instantly recognized as a follower of Western Jesus, also known as Carl Driscoll. So, I beat him to death. I found a horse that spoke to me, converted him to the ways of Western Satanism, and moved on. We heard screaming coming from inside and ran to see Micah was actually about to get sacrificed to Western Satan by some woman. We convinced her that we're also followers of Western Satan, and she decided not to kill Micah, at least not for now. We set the house on fire so Western Satan can see us, know where to find the sacrifices, and we ended up riding back home. The next day we woke up and was informed our good friend John Marston had went missing, while searching for even more sacrifices for Satan. Arthur and Javier decided to look out and search for our good friend, but when I was riding, something dawned on me. I'm screwed in this mission. I don't know how I'm gonna take out these wolves. I thought the first difficult part would be when John gets captured by Cornwall, but no, it's gonna be here. John needs to stop being stupid, because I just realized almost every single time in this game that I'm worried about right now about having to use a gun involves John. We found John's horse half-eaten, I assume by someone craving McDonald's, and I found a very low poly rock that seemed very disturbing with my bullets. I was hoping for some reason maybe me having these little bullets going in this mission would change something, but I ended up falling down the mountain and respawned with all my bullets anyway, and then frustrated, I just shot the mountain while making my way to John. Saw John in all his 480p glory and walked him right into a trap. Well, originally I wanted to just feed him to the wolves, Javier convinced me against it, while my pants became slowly more yellow, and John's hair became something. I ran at the wolves with my knife, hoping for the best, and to my surprise, I reworked! I ended up surviving and even killed 2 of them on my first try! Unfortunately, my game fucking bugged and froze me in place, forcing me to reload my save and do the mission again. So, I talked to Abigail, activated a mod menu to kill myself to be able to skip back to the wolves, which technically isn't cheating since I already did this segment. I refought the wolves, this time killing all 3 with only a small scratch. Let's be honest, John's a bitch for complaining about his scratch. On the way back down the mountain, I learned my horse, infused with the powers given to him by Western Satan, was actually able to kill every single wolf in a single tap. So, I fucking murdered the wolves and we made our way back down the camp. After a really long nap, we woke up and came to get some food, as Arthur hasn't eaten in days. And even though he is also imbued with the power of Western Satan, he still has to eat. Unfortunately, Pearson decided to grab everything except for food when we came up here. And because our Uber Eats wasn't working,
Shit. Sorry, I can't get there at the moment.
Me and Charles decided to go out and grab some food ourselves. On the mountain, we came across some beautiful deers that make a fun addition to our stomachs. I tried to knife him, but he was just far too fast for me to catch up to him, so I ended up just shooting him with a bow. While technically not failing the challenge since bows aren't guns, it did still feel very cheap using them, and sadly we'll be adding this to the shot counter. Fuck you, Bambi. After I finished eating, Dutch came and told me that he actually found out where Colm O'Driscoll's Christian camp was. We rode out to the site and looked through the binoculars, and we saw the God-fearing motherfucker ourselves. Fueled with rage, Arthur ended up falling down the mountain as he tried to run and kill Western Jesus, but ended up getting fucking shot. Luckily, when we activated the shootout, we also hit a checkpoint and ended up spawning in a secluded spot in the camp. Dutch asked me what I wanted to do. I decided to run out in full force. I killed one O'Driscoll, I Dutch off the other, and decided I was just going to hang back and let the gang take down some O'Driscolls, so I'd have less enemies shooting at me whenever I started meleeing them, which resulted in Micah getting fucking shot. So, did another cowboy jump scare, lassoed him for the funny, Dutch stole my victim, then did it again, and then I ran over to who I thought shot Micah last time, and I got instantly murdered. This time I ran up again, killed the first dude, and I was planning on being just a distraction so Micah wouldn't get murdered again, but ended up getting fucking killed again. And again. And again. And again. And again. Eventually I decided to add a death counter just to keep count of how many times I fucking died. And eventually after a few deaths, Western Satan decided to take pity on me and give me a gift. While killing these guys in the cabin farther right, I found out one of them actually dropped throwing knives. And I ended up dying almost immediately after that revelation. But knowing I could actually get throwing knives now, I started sending Dutch after the first two O'Driscolls while I stuck my way over to the cabin, killed the Christians, and take the throwing knives. I did use my bow on two individuals that didn't die from my throwing knives, so that brought the shot count up to 4. But, what can you do? I used my throwing knife on the guy on the water tower that I knew Arthur was scripted to kill, stabbed the last 3 enemies, finally hitting the checkpoint. That part was such a fucking pain. In part because I looted so little in Sadie's house, I had nothing to eat, so nothing to heal with. I decided to loot nearly everyone I could before moving over to the next gameplay segment, which thankfully unlocked Deadeye for us. And I ended up using Deadeye to make sure all my throwing knives always hit them in the head, saved Micah by stabbing this one guy, words of which I never say, and made it through without dying a single time. I looted every single person in the snow and made my way back to Dutch, who told us the O'Driscolls had actually been holding a big pile of dynamite, and we were able to steal them. You see, Dutch had only found out there was a train coming through, carrying estrogen prescriptions. He planned on blowing the tracks up and robbing the prescriptions off the train, where he was going to sell them to the trans people stuck in the South. We're currently stuck without any means to medically necessary treatment that hormones are. And anyone saying the laws preventing people, even adults, from getting hormones are a good thing, shut the fuck up, the medically necessary, go away. And on the way back, we found Kieran trying to run away. So, I lassoed him and took him back to us where Dutch politely asked for information about Western Jesus. We decided to take a little power nap and we went out to the train tracks where I went down to help Bill with the TNT. But Bill, being Bill, ended up fucking everything up, and we had to run after the train because he somehow messed up with dynamite. But Javi and Lenny ended up falling off. Lenny was strong enough to catch himself. I helped pull Lenny up and we made our way down the train, stabbing our way through until Lenny got fucking shot. Good job, Lenny. So I made my way through again, this time using my throwing knife on the guy who killed Lenny, and ended up stopping the train. But as we did, the South ended up sending even more fascists to try to stop us from getting the estrogen. But Lenny and I ended up powering through it. Eventually the boys caught up to us, and Dutch told us it was even more fascist than the last train corps protecting the estrogen, and asked us to scare them out. Which, of course, involved guns. Luckily, Arthur can just sit back and watch everyone else shoot, so eventually Dutch was like, this ain't working, so me and Charles ended up planting some dynamite on the doors, blew them suckers off, and eventually everyone came out. We went in, secured the estrogen prescriptions, and on our way out, Dutch asked us to deal with the remaining fascists. I asked Chat where I shoot with them, and Chat, being Chat, suggested we kill them. When we made our way back to camp, the gang already packed up. See, the robbery helping trans people got the attention of Kiwi Farms, and those losers ended up doxing the location of our camp. So we needed to move before more fascists showed up in revenge. After fixing a broken wall that I broke, we made our way to our new home for the time being, Horseshoe Overlook. A place no one ever chooses to go. Also known as Ohio. And this concludes our first episode of Can You Beat RDR2 Without Using Guns? is what I would say. But that bow kill familiar was still eating away at me. So, I decided to start the game from fucking scratch, go back to the beginning, and redo the entire fucking chapter. First I killed the O'Driscolls, the Adler Ranch, this time killing the guy who got away. Got the horse again, met Sadie again, shaved John again, killed those fucking wolves again. Made it back to camp with 0 shots fired, but this time, instead of being hungry and grabbing food for the boys, I decided to attack the O'Driscolls first. This time when I went on the hunting trip, I'd have both Deadeye and throwing knives. I ended up dying a couple times trying to get the throwing knives back. Eventually I decided to just reset the death counter. Since I'm technically restarting the chapter, go ahead and restart that. And whenever I finally did get the throwing knives back, I made it through the entire segment without dying again, or even using my bow this time, which is a massive plus so we can take 2 bow shots off the counter. After I completed this segment, the game automatically threw me back in the hunting mission with Charles, but this time since I had throwing knives and Deadeye, I was hoping things to go a little bit differently and go more in my favor. I got as close as I could without spooking the deer, and it worked! It actually worked! I ended up killing both the deers with just a knife. Last, I went on to re-rob the estrogen train, this time accidentally falling off when I was trying to pick up my throwing knives, bringing our fail count up to 5. Then the rest of the mission went pretty well, did it without dying a single time or failing. Watched the gun truth the chain again, restole the action again. This time, I told the fascists to actually get back on the train. But I wasn't going to let them live. You see, on a previous attempt, I was never actually able to kill all 3 guys, just 2. I figured the fastest who got away was the one who actually told Kiwi Farms about us, which led to us getting doxxed. So, I decided to get all of them on the train and violently murder them with my knife. But when I made my way back to camp, I found out that I was once again doxxed by Kiwi Farms. Decided fuck it, and instead of driving the way to Horseshoe Overlook again, I just killed myself to get those sweet checkpoint buttons. Made my way back to Horseshoe Overlook, finally bringing our journey to an end, at least for now, leaving us with 47 kills, 5 deaths and or fails, and 0 shots fired. Thank you everyone who watched this video. It was quite annoying to do, especially going back and redoing the game again. But let me know what you thought of the first episode. Don't worry, I promise Western Satan isn't a running theme in the show. That joke got switched off in the first O'Driscoll mission. But if you like this, let me know, leave a like, tell me what you liked about it, tell me what you didn't like so I can take that part out. And if you want me to record this episode live, a link to my Twitch channel will be linked down below. I will stream these every single Friday. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Now, boys can move slow. They'll end up dead all over. When they need some help, they reach up on the shelf. Cowboys can't shoot slow. They'll end up low. When they need some help, reach up on the shelf.